Legal and Privacy Brief for July 10, 2026. The House passed the KIDS Act mandating age verification online, drawing privacy concerns over collection of sensitive identity data. EU enforcement action targets 4 member states over 20-month delays implementing the NIS2 cybersecurity directive for critical infrastructure. Madison Square Garden faces class action over a cyber attack exposing 26 million records, including biometric data. Here's the full breakdown of today's top legal and privacy stories. Legal and Privacy Brief, July 10, 2026. Next section, Enforcement Actions. XAI Memphis Data Center Pollution, lawsuit civil rights groups including the Southern Environmental Law Center, Earth Justice, and the NAACP filed suit against Elon Musk's XAI data centers in Memphis for operating 57 gas turbines without required permits under the Clean Air Act. The facility emits over 1,700 tons of nitrogen oxides annually, making it the largest industrial source in the Memphis area, which already fails national smog standards. The turbines also emit 180 tons of fine particulate matter, 500 tons of carbon monoxide, and 19 tons of formaldehyde annually into minority neighborhoods with disproportionately high pollution-caused childhood illnesses. Musk failed to build a promised water filtration system. The DOJ, the Department of Justice, is attempting dismissal on national security grounds. Compliance action. Facilities operating combustion equipment producing these emission levels require air permits under the Clean Air Act. Review facility permit status before deploying data center infrastructure with gas turbine power generation. Source: TechDirt. Next section, Litigation Updates. Madison Square Garden biometric data breach class action. A class action alleges Madison Square Garden Sports failed to secure personal information of millions of customers, resulting in a cyber attack that compromised more than 26 million records, including biometric data. The lawsuit claims inadequate security controls left customer information vulnerable to unauthorized access. Compliance action. Organizations collecting biometric identifiers under state laws like Illinois BIPA, the Biometric Information Privacy Act, face strict security requirements and statutory damages of $1,000 $5,000 per violation. Conduct security assessments of biometric data storage systems and implement encryption controls. Source: top class actions. Gas station price-fixing algorithm class action. A California class action accuses Marathon Petroleum, 7-Eleven, and BP products of conspiring to use artificial intelligence-based algorithms to inflate fuel prices. The lawsuit alleges coordinated use of pricing software constituted unlawful collusion. Source: top class actions. Amazon Fresh Assistant Manager misclassification. A collective action alleges Amazon Fresh misclassifies assistant store managers to avoid paying overtime wages under the Fair Labor Standards Act. The lawsuit claims ASMs perform non-exempt duties but are classified as exempt from overtime requirements. Compliance action. Review employee classifications for assistant managers and similar supervisory positions. Under the FLSA, the executive exemption requires that more than 50% of time is spent on management duties and employees have genuine authority over hiring, firing, and scheduling decisions. Source: top class actions. Bayer Roundup federal litigation post-Supreme Court. Bayer is seeking dismissal of federal litigation, consolidating 4,000 Roundup cancer lawsuits following the Supreme Court's June 25 ruling that plaintiffs cannot sue over warning label failures. Plaintiffs' attorneys argue the ruling was limited to label claims and does not affect design defect and negligence claims. Source: Scotto S. blog. Jean Carroll Payment Order U.S. District Judge Lewis Kaplan rejected President Trump's request to delay payment of $5.8 million to Jean Carroll until after Supreme Court review of the sexual abuse and defamation verdict. Kaplan ordered release of funds from escrow. Trump's attorneys appealed within an hour. Source: Scotto S. blog. Renaissance Fair Hidden Fees Settlement. Renaissance Entertainment Productions agreed to a $1.9 million class action settlement over claims it failed to disclose service fees for New York Renaissance Fair tickets. The settlement resolves allegations of deceptive fee disclosures. Compliance action. Review ticket and transaction fee disclosures for compliance with state consumer protection statutes requiring clear, conspicuous disclosure of all mandatory fees before purchase completion. Source: top class actions. Next section, Regulatory Guidance. EU NIS2 Directive Enforcement Action. The European Commission filed legal referrals at the Court of Justice of the European Union against Ireland, Spain, France, and the Netherlands for failing to implement the NIS2 directive more than 20 months past the October 2024 deadline. The Commission is seeking lump sum and daily financial penalties until each country transposes the directive into domestic law. NIS2 sets minimum security standards for 18 critical sectors, including hospitals, energy networks, transport operators, and public administrations. As of January 2025, only 6 of 27 EU member states had transposed the directive. The directive adds risk management and incident reporting requirements not included in the original 2016 NIS directive. Compliance action. Organizations operating in EU member states must comply with NIS2 requirements once transposed, including incident notification within 24 hours of detection and comprehensive risk management programs. Monitor national implementation timelines and prepare compliance documentation. Source: the record. Latvia ransomware attack system restoration. Latvia's state-owned forestry company, LVM, continues restoring IT systems weeks after a ransomware attack disrupted mapping platforms, hunting applications, and contractor information exchange systems. The attackers exploited a vulnerability in a system not updated for 2 years and accessed the network for over a week before detection. Attackers leaked 44 gigabytes of data, including internal documents, email correspondence, software code repositories, digital certificates, cryptographic keys, and user credentials. CERT. LV attributed the attack to a foreign financially motivated ransomware group targeting NATO and EU entities. 2/3 of customers with service contracts still lack system access. Compliance action. Establish vulnerability scanning and patch management procedures with maximum 30-day remediation windows for critical vulnerabilities. The 2-year unpatched system exposure enabled the compromise. Source: the record. Next section, privacy developments. World Cup surveillance infrastructure expansion. The U.S. government invested over $1 billion in 2026 FIFA World Cup security surveillance, deploying facial recognition cameras, AI-driven autonomous drones, robot dogs with cameras, and expanded CCTV networks across host cities. Over 120 civil society groups, including Amnesty International and the ACLU, issued travel advisories warning of invasive social media screening, electronic device searches, racial profiling, arrest, detention, and deportation risks. Facial recognition cameras in stadiums collect and analyze biometric data that can be retained for unknown future uses. States like New York used federal World Cup funding to expand law enforcement drone capabilities with AI-supported monitoring, tracking, and intelligence gathering. Seattle's mayor reactivated a previously shut-down CCTV system despite prior biometric privacy concerns. Drones can read text from 60,000 feet and function as cell tower simulators to intercept communications. Compliance action. Organizations collecting facial biometrics at events must comply with state biometric privacy laws, including Illinois BIPA, Texas QBI, and Washington's biometric law. Obtain written consent, provide retention schedules, and implement destruction policies. Surveillance infrastructure deployed for temporary events often becomes permanent. Source: TechDirt. Texas abortion surveillance billboards. Mayday Health launched billboard campaigns in Houston warning drivers that Texas law enforcement uses automated license plate readers Alper, location tracking tools like LocateX, and search history data to investigate abortion-related activities. Texas Sheriff's Office used data from 83,000 Alper cameras to track a woman suspected of self-managing an abortion. The billboards reached over 1 million drivers during a 4-week campaign. Mayday Health operates a website providing abortion information without collecting cookies or identifying information, and directs visitors to the Digital Defense Fund for privacy and security resources. Compliance action. Healthcare organizations in states with abortion restrictions should audit data collection practices, disable location tracking, implement end-to-end encryption for patient communications, and provide privacy guidance to patients about Alper exposure, device location data, and search history risks. Sources: EFF Deep Links. Next section, policy changes. House passes Kids Act with age verification. Mandates. The House passed the Kids Act 267-117, combining a revised Kids Online Safety Act, KOSA, with multiple internet bills imposing age-gating schemes on online services. The bill now moves to the Senate. The legislation requires platforms to determine which users are under 18, creating mandatory age verification systems. EFF warns no age verification method is both privacy protective and accurate. Systems may require government-issued ID, biometric scans, or algorithmic age estimation from facial images or online behavior, all of which link offline identity to online activity and create breach risks. The revised KOSA language pressures platforms to police lawful speech by establishing and enforcing policies addressing gambling, alcohol, and cannabis content. encouraging broad deletion of speech on these topics, including teens seeking help for parental gambling problems or substance abuse recovery resources. Compliance action. If enacted, platforms will need age verification systems by an undefined compliance deadline. Begin evaluating age verification vendors, reviewing privacy policies for minor data collection disclosures, and assessing content moderation policy changes. Monitor Senate amendments and state-level age verification laws in Utah, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Texas for enforcement guidance. Source: EFF Deep Links. NSA restores Tailored Access Operations designation. The National Security Agency rebranded its Office of Computer Network Operations back to Tailored Access Operations, TAO, the name used before the 2016 NSA 21 reorganization. Deputy Director Tim Kozaba spearheaded the change to reunite developers and operators previously separated under NSA 21. TAO creates custom software implants and tools to penetrate foreign computer networks for espionage, including the Stuxnet weapon used against Iran's nuclear program. Shadow Broker's leak of TAO tools in 2017 led to the WannaCry ransomware attack using the Eternal Blue exploit, which infected 200,000 organizations across 150 countries. TAO is expected to open a dedicated building at Fort Meade next month. Source: The Record. ICE Office of Professional Responsibility. Investigating critics. ICE's Office of Professional Responsibility has shifted from investigating ICE employee misconduct to investigating external critics and online speech. OPR investigated 131 cases of doxing and threats directed towards ICE employees nationwide between January 2025 and March 2026. OPR issued administrative subpoenas to tech companies to unmask online critics and visited a New York poll worker during voting to demand she sign a warning notice and remove an Instagram post crediting news reporting that identified an ICE agent involved in a shooting. The forum characterized the post as threatening to assault, kidnap, or murder federal officials. The poll worker refused to sign, viewing it as an admission of guilt. Compliance action. Organizations receiving OPR administrative subpoenas for user data based on social media posts should review the legal basis, require proper service, and consider user notification obligations under privacy policies and state privacy laws. The OPR statutory mandate covers ICE employee misconduct investigations, not external speech investigations. Source: TechDirt. European Commission declines social media interoperability enforcement. The European Commission announced in its first Digital Markets Act review that it will not extend the DMA's interoperability mandate to social networking platforms and provided no enforcement timeline. The Commission stated there is no clear demand from users and businesses for social networking interoperability, and the technical complexity is too great. The DMA requires interoperability for messaging services despite technical and privacy challenges. ActivityPub and the Fediverse demonstrate existing decentralized networking protocols. The Commission will continue to monitor and assess how these services evolve, rather than mandate interoperability. Source: EFF Deep Links. Next section: Compliance Takeaways. Implement NIS2 compliance programs now even if your member state has not transposed the directive. The EU is pursuing financial penalties against Ireland, Spain, France, and the Netherlands. Organizations in the 18 covered sectors should establish incident notification procedures, 24-hour detection reporting, risk management frameworks, and supply chain security controls. Audit biometric data security controls following the Madison Square Garden breach of 26 million records. Illinois BIPA, Texas QBI, Washington State biometric law, and similar statutes impose strict security requirements and statutory damages of $1,000 $5,000 per violation. Encrypt biometric identifiers at rest and in transit. Review employee classifications for overtime exemptions following the Amazon Fresh Assistant Manager collective action. The FLSA executive exemption requires more than 50% management duties and genuine hiring, firing, and scheduling authority. Misclassification exposes organizations to back pay, liquidated damages, and attorney fees. Prepare for potential age verification requirements if the KIDS Act passes the Senate. Evaluate age verification vendors for privacy protections, review minor data collection disclosures, and assess content moderation policy impacts on lawful speech about gambling, alcohol, and cannabis. State laws in Utah, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Texas already mandate age verification for certain content. Patch critical vulnerabilities within 30 days maximum. Latvia LVM ransomware attack exploited a system unpatched for 2 years, resulting in week-long network access, 44 gigabytes data leak including cryptographic keys, and ongoing service disruption affecting 2/3 of customers weeks later. That concludes today's legal and privacy brief from Carolina Clear Tech, for informational purposes only, not legal advice.